Hey there guys, this is Dan Dicks here, reporting for Press for Truth. My intention for today's video was to give you another COVID 1984 update as I've been combing over all the news of the day, and I gotta be honest, I started getting a little overwhelmed with it all, and I started thinking about how we're literally in the midst of the greatest information war we've seen since the Dark Ages. So that's been weighing on my heart, and I really wanted to share this with you today. But some of the articles that I've been coming across this morning that have led me to this vlog are things like this. We see this: 4 people given the new COVID vaccine in clinical trials developed Bell's palsy. Should you be worried? Yeah, I think that may be a little bit of a cause for concern, don't you? That this experimental vaccine that's been rushed out extremely quickly is causing nerve damage in people's faces. Yeah, I think that's a little bit of a cause for concern myself. We see things like this: Canada to implement its first national vaccine injury compensation program. Leave it up to the Liberals to always try to compensate for their errors. I think they are anticipating serious vaccine injury. Maybe that's because it's already happening. So they're saying, guys, just get the jab. But if it happens to you, don't worry. We'll give you some money. We also see this: Canadians risk fines and personal liability if gathering over the holidays, says a lawyer. So if you dare have your family members over for Christmas who are not a part of your immediate household, well, guess what? If they contract COVID-19 while there, this lawyer says they can legally sue you. And your liability, your insurance, is not going to cover the transmission of a disease. Like as if family members would be suing each other. This is just crazy. We also see this: Ford government to provide proof of COVID-19 vaccination. Those without them could face restrictions. Surprise, surprise. Exactly what I've been saying for over a decade now, that this is eventually going to be the case. Even just 6 months ago, I was laughed at as a conspiracy theorist for even daring to suggest such a thing. But here it is now in the mainstream news. Here's me presenting my COVID vaccine card. I'm sure that's going to be a thing. I'm certainly going to be first in line to get mine, I hope. We're also seeing things like this, guys: the perfect storm. How coronavirus spread vaccine misinformation to the mainstream. You know, it's dangerous and scary how people who talk about the dangers of vaccines and the people who are getting injured from them are making it into the mainstream. How awful. Sorry, a vaccine isn't quite the light at the end of the tunnel. No light at the end of the COVID tunnel, not even if you have the vaccine. In fact, it was even the CEO of Pfizer who recently came out saying, if you get the vaccine, that doesn't necessarily mean you're not still going to spread the disease. You may, in fact, have to still wear a mask. You may have to still social distance if you get the vaccine, guys. Then there's this: what happens if people don't want to take the COVID-19 84 vaccine? Can you just imagine those selfish people who are not going to risk neurological damage to their face? They are the ones who are impeding on herd immunity. That's what the article essentially is trying to suggest, guys. We see here: small Newfoundland town leans on each other during COVID-19 84 lockdowns. This is dealing with literally a couple of cases, 3 or 4 contact tracing cases, not people who have tested positive or negative. They haven't even been tested. They're just counted as cases. And they're locking down the entirety of the East Coast, it seems. We have this from City News: time to start fighting anti-vaccine information. University of Ottawa researcher says they've been trying to do that for well over a decade now, and it hasn't been working. People thankfully have been paying attention. Most Canadians are going to take the vaccine, it seems, but about 1/3, according to polls, are not willing to, and that's slightly promising, but we need to get those numbers up. We see this from the Globe and Mail. Canada needs to prepare for rare but serious health problems resulting from vaccinations. Again, preparing you for the idea that, yeah, there's going to be some serious health complications coming from these things. But forget about all that. Still, go get the jab. Guys, as I said, going over this stuff, it started weighing on me that we are literally in the greatest information war we've seen since the Dark Ages, when the Bible was only written in Latin and only the adepts, the elite, understood how to read Latin, and society began to crumble and they controlled information. And that's how it is today, guys, because there is an agenda for a one world government, a one world digital cash system, a one world religion, all led by one world leader. This has been the agenda for quite some time, and the powers that ought not to be, as I like to call them, have been attempting to set that up for a while. It was following the First World War that they first attempted this world government with the announcement of the League of Nations, but rightly so, the general populations around the world rejected the idea of giving up their sovereignty in order to unite under fewer hands of control. They said, no, we're not going to do that just because of some problems that we're having. Well, what happened next, guys, was a Second World War, very, very quickly after the first one, where they put in their puppet Hitler to attempt to essentially take it by brute force. And that's when they announced the United Nations, their second attempt at a world government. And the very people who were first rejecting the idea of a League of Nations were now demanding that we have this UN. Don't you see how bad things are out there? Don't you see this crazy Hitler guy? Of course we need to come together now. And they moved one step closer to this agenda. Well, today, ladies and gentlemen, these powerful elites, the powers that ought not to be, as I like to call them, are very old. David Rockefeller recently died. His kids are taking over. The heads of the Rothschild families are in their 90s. The Queen is getting up there, going to croak soon. Not that she has a lot of pull. All of these guys, Henry Kissinger, he's like 150 years old. They're all about to croak, and their kids will be taking the reins. And their kids haven't experienced the First and Second World Wars like their fathers and grandfathers have, but they have learnt from it. They realize when you try to take it by brute force, it doesn't work. The people always resist. The people always fight back, and the people always win. So they changed up their strategies. They become more stealthy. They realized if they could take over the education system, and if they could take over the media, they could control people's minds and shape them and mold them into accepting a global government. They've realized they don't want to blow up their own infrastructure anymore. It's always been about control. So it's dawned on me, guys, we are in the midst of the Third World War. But this is the 21st century. It's not the same as it used to be. Again, we're not talking about guns and bombs. We're talking about controlling the minds of the masses. And that's literally the stage of the game that we're at today. So I think the Third World War has been launched. It's largely a propaganda information war to get people to submit to authorities. When you look around right now, 99% of the people are wearing masks. When death numbers are relatively stagnant, they're comparable to a regular influenza flu. Case numbers are going up. They're using that to drive the fear state. And it's essentially all about control. It's all about how much are you going to give up of your civil liberties moving forward. So make no mistakes about it, guys. We are in the midst of the Third World War. It is, in fact, an information war. And they're trying to convince you to give up your freedoms and your liberties willingly. Just like those people who correctly rejected the League of Nations, who will all of a sudden were demanding that we have to have this United Nations because things are getting so bad. Well, the same thing is happening today. They tricked us into begging for our own enslavement. And it's time people wake up and realize that fact and start to step outside of the system, start to become self-sustainable, start to learn how to grow your own food, learn how to homestead, learn how to grow a family. These are the things that the global power elite fear the most, is an awakened populace who understands their true power and who are going to step outside of the system and say enough is enough. It's that time, guys. We are the soldiers in the information war. And on that note, sometimes you come across some of your fellow wounded brethren, right? And you want to save them, but some of them are too far gone. Some of them have had entire limbs blown off. There's just no hope in saving them. There's others who are potential, who have potential to be saved. Some of these guys, we're just gonna have to leave and we're gonna have to go work on the others. It's unfortunate, but that's the stage of the game. Just look around. That's where we're at. So lead by example, my friends. Turn your TV off. Stop subjecting yourself to the propaganda, the lies, the conditioning, the brainwashing, and become the thing that they fear the most. Completely self-reliant, self-sustainable, and not dependent on the banks or the governments whatsoever. That's truly the thing they fear the most. That is the enemy in this information war. So guys, I just want to encourage you to take the proper steps to start doing that if you haven't already. I just wanted to bring this one to your attention, guys. It's been weighing on my heart today. As I said, going over the COVID 1984 updates daily, it gets crazy. It's getting crazier by the day. There's always something new every day. It's an information war. The battle is for your mind. Turn the TV off and continue to tune into Press for Truth. Guys, if you appreciate my efforts to bring you this info, please click that thumbs up button and share this video. Get the information out there. Right now I'm being heavily censored. The powers that ought not to be don't want this kind of information spreading. So they are censoring me. So with your help, we can spread this information. Click the thumbs up button, share it around. And if you appreciate my efforts, please also check the links in the description to where you can find me on pressfortruth.ca/donate. They are financially attacking me as well. There you can contribute a one-time PayPal donation. You can contribute Bitcoin or other cryptocurrencies. You can become a patron. Or you can send an e-transfer to dan@pressfortruth.ca, or you can also send cash or equipment or just simply words of encouragement to my P.O. box. Links are all located in the description below. That's all for today, guys. Once again, please share this information. It's absolutely vital. We are in the midst of a third world war, and it's a war for your mind. Thanks for watching, guys. Stay tuned for more video reports coming soon. This is Dan Dicks reporting for Press for Truth. We all want truth. The truth will set you free.